Getting into law is difficult. That may not be a groundbreaking observation, but here's a stat to put that into perspective. If you're currently sitting in a lecture theatre as one of 200 students, statistically, only 36 of you will get a training contract. So we, the people behind All About Law, decide to run around the City of London to quiz as many people who are in the know as possible. With that in mind, we spoke to a number of graduate recruiters and partners on how to get into law. So without further ado, here are the insights we garnered from those individuals.
In terms of researching employers, I think the key would be little and often, in that really you can never start too early.
I'd strongly recommend that first year students really start researching employers as soon as they know what sort of firm they want to work at, what sort of size, what sort of practice area, which is probably as soon as possible.
Ideally as soon as possible. First year is the ideal time.
As a firm, we certainly look at first year results to start to get a feel for your academic ability and therefore your intellectual capacity.
When you're applying for internships, which typically in the legal sector tends to be in your second year, we need to see how you've done in your first year, and we expect you to be getting a good 2-1 throughout every module that you actually sit.
If you're applying for a first year vacation scheme, then it is important that your first year results are up to scratch.
But when students are applying for VAC schemes and they're looking to apply for training contracts, we of course look at all their grades. So it is important that students take their first year exams seriously right from the start.
In terms of first year degree results, it depends, the emphasis we place on it depends on what you're applying for. So in some cases, if you're applying for one of our vacation schemes or a Christmas workshop, those are the only university results we have to go on. And they will distinguish you from other candidates. So clearly they are very, very important.
I think it is important for first years to attend careers fairs. They're the first opportunity really that first years get to gain insight into firms, to understand what it is that firms are looking for in them. But I would advise, do your research before you go to the careers fairs. Don't just turn up saying, what can you do for us? Because ultimately you're out there trying to sell yourself as well, even though it's an opportunity for you to learn about the firms as well.
It's really important for first years to attend university law fairs. It's a fantastic opportunity to meet 20, 30 law firms at one point in time. It's not often that you will get this opportunity.
The key is that we go to the careers fair in order to meet people, in order to give people the opportunity to meet us, speak with us, discuss options, find out what the firms are like. The truth is, if a lot of law firms are coming down to your campus and are going to be there for the day and you're interested in law, I wouldn't see why you would not attend the careers fair. It's a sensible thing to do.
Attending a careers fair is an ideal opportunity for you to start to find out more about this career and for you to start to find out more about firms. There are lots of firms out there and we all differ slightly. The key things that a first year should be doing when applying to our programmes would be trying to obtain some work experience, although that can be hard to come by. But actually you'll find increasingly nowadays firms are offering first year open days or insight programmes, which is like a mini work experience. So actually trying to get yourself onto those types of schemes can be really good.
Find out about when the key dates are that you're going to need to be aware of for next year. Also, there may be some first year focused programs that you can apply for, open days or internships. So I would use it as an opportunity to talk to employers, find out a bit more about them as an organisation. Don't ask basic questions, do your research before you get to the fair, but really important for you to actually start having conversations with people who are working within the legal sector and doing the jobs that ultimately you might decide to apply for in the future.
So I think there's research on the firms, there's research on law generally. There's also just reading around the subject of business, finding out about what's going on in the city if you're applying for commercial law firms, and a general awareness. I'm not saying detail here, but a general awareness of what is going on.
Thinking about what you've learned about the legal sector in your research, what makes a good lawyer, and why that's going to be of value to us in terms of the skills and experience you've built up, which can prove that you're going to make a good lawyer in the future. Application forms that stand out as being particularly strong tend to be those which have been tailored to the organisation that they've applied to. So, for example, if you're applying to Norton Rose Fulbright, we expect you to have done your research about us as an organisation, not just us as a business, but what we really value in our employees. So we're expecting you to think about that when you're writing the answers to the questions we've been asking you.
When they're able to demonstrate in a number of areas that they're extremely strong. So it's not just a case that the students need strong academics, although of course that's a prerequisite. You know, what I'm looking for is someone who's done something interesting. Perhaps they've worked abroad and they've sort of taken themselves outside their comfort zone, perhaps, in order to show their resilience. Or, you know, they've done something particularly interesting, set up a society that perhaps hadn't existed before, thought laterally about a project, done some work experience which they've gotten off their own back. Those sorts of things will always set a student apart because they're perhaps not as typical as what you would expect from all students.
The in-depth research which people do before they write their application form. So we want to see on an application form that everybody who applies to us really wants to work here. So if they can name partners and our practice areas and awards we've won, or clients, that sort of thing, we know that you've gone beyond researching our website and looked beyond that within the legal market.
When actually a candidate really researches a firm and they actually know more than just is on the front page of our website, so they know perhaps recent deals that we've worked on, they know perhaps where we're ranked in some of the key legal publications, so they've gone that extra level in terms of research. And another thing for us is, and what really impresses us, is when a candidate can demonstrate they know what's going on in the legal sector as well. So they know kind of topical things in terms of perhaps mergers or when firms are all looking at perhaps the same things. So, for example, legal process outsourcing. So the things that are critical to the sector.
The interview stage for us is the opportunity to meet with candidates, of course, and to find out more about them. We're not looking for specific boxes that need ticking, but we are looking for people who can think around a subject, take complex issues and discuss them, who can take an argument and run with it, as well as taking on other people's points of view. People who can explain coherently why they want to do law, and people who can take complex issues and try and boil them down to simplicity. Now that's all, of course, very easy.
Analytical skills and some of the key competencies that we look for include drive and motivation. These are the things that you might expect to be assessed on at the interview stage.
There's another thing that our partners apply, which is something called the taxi test, which is, can you put this individual, this potential trainee, or could you trust them in the back of a taxi with your best client? And what that looks like in terms of skills is credibility, knowledgeable about various subject matters, and actually can build a rapport with an individual quite quickly. So those are the things, aside from the standard things that we look for at BLP.
Communication skills, business development skills, commercial awareness, as well as analytical skills and the ability to work under pressure are all essential skills for trainee solicitors.
What we're looking for are people who can really think laterally, who can think on their feet when asked a question that they perhaps hadn't expected to be asked. And even if their answer isn't completely polished, what we like to see is someone who's able to think through a problem and has the confidence to do that face to face with an interviewer.
Commercial awareness is really just having a knowledge of the business world and understanding how everything works together within the commercial world. In terms of developing it, I'd strongly recommend keeping up to date with what's going on in the news, attending employer presentations. You just get a bit more of an insight then as to what they're doing, and any work experience you have, even if it's working in a bar, you get a bit more of an understanding of business and how they work from that.
Commercial awareness really is having an understanding of how businesses operate and what that means for their clients. So in the legal sector, we'd expect candidates to have an understanding of the clients that we service, but also an understanding that we are a business ourselves and have had to make very strategic decisions about the shape of our business and how we run ourselves.
It's not just commercial awareness, it's actually commercial interest. Having a real interest in the commercial world is what will set you apart.
As a law firm, we're not just lawyers delivering legal advice, we're a business that has to make money, and we're delivering legal advice to our clients who are also businesses. So we need to deliver legal advice that fits with what their business is and how they need to work.
Commercial awareness is a general business understanding, and also the understanding of how external factors in the economic world impact law firms and also their clients.
An awareness of the business world, an awareness of how it interacts, an awareness of the issues surrounding business, politics, employment issues that occur because of business, an awareness and an interest in that subject which pervades not only the business world but political, geopolitical elements as well.
So much of the world is affected by business, so it shouldn't be too difficult to pick up on what's going on around you. Really, it's about reading the papers, having an interest in what's happening.
A great lawyer is someone who has great team working skills. They have to be good at communicating, both orally and in written form. Great attention to detail. And they've got to be passionate about the law. It sounds like a silly thing to say, but you really have to be passionate about the practice area you're working in and your clients' needs.
If I had to narrow it down to one key quality that's the most important quality to be a lawyer, it would definitely be teamwork. Trainee solicitors, associates, partners all need to be able to work well in a team to be able to meet the needs of the client.
In my experience, what makes a good lawyer, aside from the legal knowledge, which is a given really, it is the ability to get on with different people, build relationships, because your client base is going to be very, very varied, as are the people who you work with on a day-to-day basis in the office. So being able to get on with different people is very important.
Building relationships is really important. We work in a commercial environment and deal with lots of different clients.
Obviously, having the academic intelligence is critical. But really what makes a great lawyer are all the other skills that go with it. Ultimately, we as lawyers, we're in the service industry. We have to work for our clients. And so the ability to communicate well with clients, the ability to empathise and understand their problems and to find commercial solutions to problems, that's absolutely critical as well.
Energy and enthusiasm. This is a hard career. Sometimes people do work long hours, so being energetic and enthusiastic about it can make a difference.
The key qualities that would make a lawyer is a difficult one to answer because we have a very, very broad range of people at the firm. And we have a broad range because we have a massively broad range of clients. However, what combines all of them is the ability to take complex information and boil it down to simple issues for a client. The ability to communicate effectively, whether it be written or oral, and to make good relationships with clients and become, hopefully in the future, their trusted advisors.
So you now have a great insight into how the people that will be recruiting you think. That's only half the battle though. The next step is to get researching, building your knowledge and applying for opportunities. All About Law can help you with just that.